slap is commonly viewed by people as using the flat hand to hit another person, and this could be done playfully or sometimes in anger. The latter is the one that we're going to be talking about here. It's not the type of slap you slap playfully, like, slap in the hand, or playfully slap, especially amongst teenagers. I see some men and teenage boys slapping each other at the back of the head playfully. That's not what we want to talk about today. Before we continue this discussion, don't forget to subscribe, press the notification bell, like and comment. All right? The slap we want to talk about today is the one that is done in anger and done on the face. So like I said, slap is usually a hit with a flat hand, which everyone knows. But have you ever taken a deeper look at the meaning or the effect of having to slap someone on the face? When I looked up this meaning, I found that slap is somewhat interpreted in Germany as defeat. I think it's called Schlappe or Schlappen, something like that. But there's a deeper meaning to slapping someone on the face. I found to be defeat. Okay, when someone is slapped out of anger on the face, it's quite significant. It's a sign of defeat. It's a sign of dominance against the other person. And it's also a sign of control, where one has control over the other. But in some cultures, slapping another person is actually a normative. There isn't a big consequence to it when it's done. Actually, it's an acceptable show of dominance. It's an acceptable show of control over another person. In some cultures, slapping is a form of correcting another person. It could be a child, it could be an adult. So when the case of Will Smith slapping another adult, Chris Rock, when that case popped up and the entire world was engulfed in that matter because of the way it happened, because of the fact that it happened over a joke, and Chris Rock received a big slap on screen, live in front of millions of people watching that program, and many people have come to condemn it. But there are still some people who are in support of what Will did. But if we have to look at it overall, it's not acceptable. You wouldn't believe it. In some other cultures, in other parts of the world, it would have happened unnoticed, unchallenged, unquestionable. And the reason why I'm bringing culture to this is because in some cultures, like we have in the West, you can't just go out hitting another person and get free with it. But in some other cultures, people stand up for themselves. And when they do that, they use any means to stand up for themselves. Slapping, which happens to be one of the forms of standing up for themselves. If they find themselves in a provocative situation, they can get into fights, they can hit the other person, and slapping is definitely not omitted. Even children, when they do wrong, get corrected by receiving a slap, and this action is not actually challenged by that culture. It's a normative. It's an act that society has gotten used to. So, but when we look at it from another lens, it's actually an action that should not be tolerated. If we use Will Smith and Chris Rock as a case study, slapping other people is actually done out of anger. It's usually not out of love. If you're not provocated, and even though you are, with a fist is different from slapping another person. When you have a fist to hit another person, this shows you want to fight back. But when you slap the person, it actually shows dominance. It actually shows you're kind of putting that person in their place, or trying to bully and subjugate that person. But what we should be looking at here is what causes people to react that way. What causes one to react in a way if you're not physically being provoked. I mean, if somebody comes to you to want to fight you on the grounds of probably being attacked physically, and then you clench your fist back in order to retaliate, that's another scenario. But if you don't find yourself in such a situation, probably somebody comes to you and is verbally, I say, abusive towards you or provocating you, it's different. If someone provocates you verbally and you want to retaliate, do it verbally. You don't have to now start getting physical. It's anger that makes us to react in a way that we really don't want to react. And so anger is what should be addressed here. So the ways to be able to not allow your anger get the best of you is 1, have a social skill on how to relate with people. 2, learn to be silent. Not everything needs reacting to. 3, think before speaking and be slow to responding. 4, take time out to calm down. 5, learn to respond in a humorous way, not for the other person's sake. You're doing it for your sanity, because at the end of the day, we are here to relate with one another, and by doing so, we might possibly end up offending one another, even when we don't intend to. So I hope this helps. Thank you very much for watching. I hope to see you next time. Take care. Bye.